Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendall. I am a full-time reseller and have been for over 3 years. And today I want to talk about some mistakes that I made starting out. I wrote them down so that I didn't forget any, and we're just going to dive right in. So the first one is not checking sell-through or checking it incorrectly. So this is very important, and it is something that you can maybe lessen checking as you get better and as you learn what brands you should pick up and what you should avoid. But if you are just starting out, I recommend checking sell through on pretty much everything. I think that something that I wish that I did was check things more thoroughly, but also not buy things if they were a certain sell through rate, even though I liked the brand. And I know that that's hard to do, especially if you're just starting out and you get excited about something, but it's probably gonna end up sitting in your inventory. So might as well just not even pick it up. Checking sell-through rate is super important because it tells you how quickly something is selling. So sell-through rate, it will show you the percentage, or you will calculate the percentage to figure out how fast something is moving within a 90-day period. eBay is great because it has a product research tool where you can search the item and get some more information than what you see when you look at sold listings. Sometimes sold listings skew what is actually selling or what that item is actually selling for, because it doesn't tell you if somebody took an offer. You can actually see that on product research, which is great and really helps to inform your decision. I also like to look at sold comps when I'm at the thrift store. I will filter to pre-owned and then I will look at solds just to see around what is it selling. Product research is also on the app, but I don't really like using it on the app, and I feel like sometimes the results are a little wonky, so I still like to do it the old-fashioned way. That might not be the total accurate way, so keep that in mind, but definitely be checking sell-through rate. Number 2 is buying items just because they are cheap. So this is something that I still struggle with. I love to shop a buy sell trade, store, sale, 90% off, all of those, and it makes things really easy to just pile a bunch of stuff into my bag or my cart without really checking and making a smart decision. I feel like there's a lot of times I buy things because of the brand or something like that, and it's so cheap that I'm like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll pick it up and I can sell it for $10 because I bought it for 50 cents. And sometimes that doesn't even work. Like, for example, I bought a bunch of Lily Pulitzer and I'm still trying to sell it like a year and a half later, and I'm pricing it around $10. So it doesn't mean that it's good if it's cheap. And same with free inventory. Just because it's free does not mean it's good. And that's okay. You can get free inventory and decide that you don't want to list any of it, and still take it if you want to look through it, because maybe there's something in there. But just because it's free does not mean you have to list it, because that is a lot of time and effort and energy that you're going to put into something that might never sell, and then you're going to pull it back out of your inventory and donate it. So just take a breath before you decide to buy things, especially if you're excited about the brand, whatever it is, and do some research. Okay, number 3 is not doing a SKU system from the beginning. So when I first started out, I was doing bins, clear bins in my inventory room, and I would be able to fit 20 to 25 items in a bin. And this was great starting out, but I do wish that I did a SKU system, which is every item has an individual number and it is stored in a cardboard box sticking up so that I can grab it very easily. I don't have to take a bin down, open it up, dig through it. So it cuts down my shipping time drastically because I can pull things very quickly. It also makes it easier for somebody else to step in and pull for me, like my husband. I'll tell him a number and he'll just go pull it instead of having to describe what it is. And you can do SKU numbers within a bin, but it just keeps it nice and organized when they're all sticking out and you can see them very clearly. So this is something that I wish I just did earlier, and I didn't even switch over until I had probably like 1,000 units in my inventory. So it is something that you can do later on. And if you're feeling like you're too deep in what you're doing, you can still change things. It might just take you some time. Like, I think it took me like 3 or 4 weeks over a period of time to actually get everything switched over. So give yourself grace, but doing it that way has been a blessing. And if you want me to do a video about my inventory room or show you more in depth, let me know and I'd be happy to do that. Number 4 is not diversifying early enough. So this means cross-listing. I did not start cross-listing for probably like 4 to 6 months into my journey, and I started with eBay. And once I added Poshmark, it felt like my sales started exploding. And now sometimes Poshmark is better than eBay, and eBay was the one I started with. So I encourage you to diversify and put your items on other platforms because you don't know who's shopping where. And there might be buyers that are never going on the platform that you sell on and only going on others. So they're not finding your item. And this can cause it to just sit and you're a storage unit at that point. So definitely diversify, spread out. You don't have to add every single platform. I only do Poshmark and Depop and eBay. And that feels good right now. That feels manageable. There are services that make it very easy to cross list, and I would encourage looking into them because it just makes it easy for you and you're not doing any manual work. But definitely look into it, do a trial, see how you like it, because I feel like I can say with almost 100% certainty that it's going to make you more money if you diversify. Number 5 is not using automation tools. So this is kind of similar to the cross listing. I didn't start using any type of auto offer tool or anything like that until probably a few months again into my journey. And I swear once I added, so I started with auto posture, which is now Nifty, and I started with their offer feature. And I swear once I turned it on for the trial, I think I made 10 sales in one day because it catches the buyer so quickly that as soon as they like your item, they're getting an offer, and it's more likely that they're going to purchase it because they already liked it, they already were interested in it, and now you're coming at them with an offer. So why would they not buy it? So it is a great tool to get sales quickly. So that is another thing I would look into. I would see what trials are out there and try some because you don't have the time to sit there and go through and send all of your offers yourself. I mean, you definitely can. And by all means, if you like to do that or if you want to do that, go for it. But having an automation tool is just like an assistant and it just catches everything way faster than you probably can. So I definitely encourage you to try that. Number 6 is overpricing and having a little bit too much ego and pride in my pricing. This is something that took a while for me to grasp and be better about. And I have learned that pricing too high, it's going to push away any buyers because you look unreasonable. And on the reverse, too, if you have things that are significantly low than everyone else or lower than everyone else, that might look weird too to people. Might be like, what's wrong with your item? So this is where product research comes in handy, and you can see what people are listing things at, who's interested in things at that price, what things are selling at, and that way you can come in at a reasonable price so that you don't look crazy. But also, we are in the business of flipping and moving things, and as long as your buy cost isn't outrageous where you have to make up all of that money, then pricing's a little bit lower so that they are enticing for the buyer and then they want to buy it. But this is something that took me a while to grasp and be better about. Number 7 is not checking for stains or flaws. Whenever I'm at a thrift store and I get too excited about something, sometimes I will have rose colored glasses on and look past the flaw or the stain or the hole, whatever it is, because the brand is good. And there are some brands that will still sell even if there are flaws, but I now have gotten to a place where even if I find a good brand, if it is so worn or damaged, I just move on from it because at the end of the day, it's just going to sit more than likely, or you're going to be taking way less than you would want to be getting for it. And that sometimes is hard. So I would just leave it at the thrift store unless you want to stain treat it or fix the hole or whatever. I personally don't like doing that, and I'm not good at stain treating, so I avoid it. But if you want to, if you want to create a project, go for it. But I just kind of ignore the brand and look at the item as it is and decide if I should pick it up or not. Number 8 is shopping too much. This is obviously the most fun part of being a reseller is the thrifting, and sometimes I can get a little bit blinded by that. And if I'm starting to find good stuff, sometimes I can just keep shopping and shopping and shopping, and then I have a mountain of stuff that I have to work through, and then I feel overwhelmed. And sometimes it's just kind of a cycle, and I'm not great at not shopping too much. I still tend to do that. So I'm a work in progress, but it is something that you need to remember to do all of the other things that are required to be a reseller, like photographing and listing and inventorying and delisting and relisting and doing all of those things that are going to promote sales, because you don't want to just keep buying and then never selling. So keep that in mind. I know death piles or money piles are nice to have sometimes because it gives you something to work through if your thrift stores feel dead, but just don't go overboard. Number 9 is not tracking your miles or anything. I was pretty good about tracking things, sort of, in the beginning. I used a spreadsheet from Jason Hayes. He's a reseller and he created a spreadsheet, and it is a great tool to use if you are just starting out. It is a one-time fee for the year. It's very affordable. It does require a lot of manual work, so you have to be typing things in and moving sales over and things like that, but it is great to be able to have a bird's eye view of your business and be able to see how your store is doing. I now use my Reseller Genie, which is a more automated service, and I love it. And if you're a reseller that has been in it for a while, or you have a large inventory, or this is a full-time thing for you, I would look into my Reseller Genie, because it was one of those things that I thought about for a long time. And then when I bought it, I was like, dang, I should have done this sooner. So definitely look into it. But if you're not tracking anything, you should start, because it's just going to help you when tax season comes, because you're going to need to gather all of these numbers and your expenses and your miles and all of these things, either for your accountant or so you can do your taxes yourself. And it's not difficult. And I don't want being a reseller to be scary because of that element, because there are tools and there are ways for you to do it in a way that's going to make it easy for you. But when I first started out, I don't think I tracked any miles for a while. And that is another thing. I use Mile IQ, and it is just like a geolocation app. So when I'm in the car, it will track my drive, and then I will just go in and decide if it's personal or business. And that is great. I'm sure there's plenty of others. I just started with Mile IQ and never switched. But you want to track your miles, because that is going to be important come tax season. So definitely be tracking things if you are not. And last is set it and forget it. So this is something that I did a one-on-one with an eBay advisor, and one of the things he said to me was about the crock pot method, which just really stuck in my mind. And that is essentially listing your items and then just kind of forgetting about them, letting them simmer. And that is not going to do you any favors. You want to make sure that you are going through and actively looking at everything in your store. And I understand if people have massive stores, this is very difficult to do, but it is something that if you do a little bit every day, it won't feel like this overwhelming, daunting task, which again, I'm still working on and getting better about doing a little bit every day. But you want to delist your items, relist your items, create them so that they're fresh again. There are services that will do this for you, so you can look into those. But it is something that you really want to do, because if you have a lot of stale listings, which are listings over 60 days, or stagnant listings, which are over 90 days, this just brings down the health of your store, because it's not giving your store as much visibility as it needs to make some sales, and it might make it look like you're more of an inactive type of seller. Just be mindful of it, and be mindful of how much you're listing and what your personal sell-through rate is for your store, because you just want to make sure that you are going back and giving some TLC to those listings, because sometimes, and I'm guilty of it, you list something and then you forget about it and it sits for a very long time. And then I finally delist it and relist it and it'll sell. So just keep that in mind. That will help promote sell through in your store if you are delisting and making listings fresh. So that is 10 mistakes that I made in the beginning that I worked on fixing, and still sometimes make the mistake, but I'm human. I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect. So let me know in the comments if there are any mistakes that you made, if you are a more seasoned seller, or if there's anything that I mentioned that you have been doing or need to fix. Let me know. I'm curious. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and be sure to subscribe if you like this. Give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. I really appreciate it. I also have other social media, so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm at The Style Secondhand. I post content on those platforms as well. I also have a podcast with my friend Hannah that is a Resale Therapy Podcast. You can find that everywhere. I will drop any links that are important or relevant to me in the description, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.